Hi everyone, so this is the weekly astrology for the week of May 10th, 2021. And if you have been watching or listening to the weekly astrology for the past few weeks, you will have heard me talk about how the past couple weeks in particular were, relatively quiet, but this week things would start to ramp up. And that's because this week we kick off eclipse season, because we don't have an eclipse this week, but we do have a new moon this week on Tuesday the 11th. And this new moon is the new moon before the eclipse. We will have an eclipse with the full moon later this month. And so basically the energy from this new moon will be building up to the eclipse later this month, and then we have another eclipse in June, and so the energy will be pretty intense and pretty strong through the end of June because of that. And if you want more details on what I'm talking about with eclipse season and the energy, check out the monthly astrology for May. I go into more detail of that there. But for now, let's just look at this week. So on Monday, we don't have too many things happening, but we do have Mercury is going to sextile Chiron. And I wanted to mention that because with Mercury sextile Chiron, you may find that, so Mercury is, our minds, it's our thoughts, it's our communications. And Chiron is the wounded healer. And so with Mercury sextile Chiron, you may find that healing conversations have an opportunity to come up, or you may find that there's a new avenue for healing that you didn't kind of see or you weren't aware of before. The moon is going to be making a couple of aspects on Monday that I think are just important to note. I don't always go into the moon aspects, but just because of the way the energy is building up, there's a few moon aspects that are happening this week that I just feel like are interesting. So on Monday, the moon will conjunct Uranus. And so this is kind of, all this that's happening on Monday is kind of leading into our new moon on Tuesday. So the moon conjunct Uranus, to me that's interesting because the moon is our emotional body, right? And Uranus is change, and it's often unexpected change. But here with this, we feel a little bit more comfortable with change, and that's going to actually play a big part into Tuesday, and I'll get more into that. But this just helps us see that change isn't a bad thing. Change can be good, and maybe we're even feeling excited about that change. And then a little later on in the day, the moon will square Saturn. And so moon square Saturn, I always like to just make note of, because moon is our emotions, Saturn is boundaries and restrictions and authority. And when they're squaring each other, this can actually feel like we are being constrained, that we are being kind of I keep doing this with my hands, like we feel like there's not room to move. We're kind of stuck or stagnant. We can actually feel a little depressed or have low energy with this. But kind of the way when I'm looking at the astrology that is happening over Monday and Tuesday, I kind of feel like the reason this moon square Saturn is important is because I feel like it's going to show us something. It's going to show us a place or a pattern somehow that we weren't aware of. It's going to illustrate a place where we can break free. It's going to kind of, I feel like the moon conjunct Uranus is going to kind of they're going to feed off each other a little bit, where the moon square Saturn is going to show us where we're uncomfortable, where things don't quite feel good, where we're feeling too restricted, too closed off, maybe even too serious, and where moon conjunct Uranus, where we need to change, where we need to make a change, and where we feel, ready to make a change, excited to make a change. And then on Tuesday, we have our new moon. It will be in Taurus. So a new moon in Taurus is really going to bring up themes of security, feeling like you have a strong foundation, and it's really going to help illustrate that perhaps the foundation we thought we had that was secure and strong and stable wasn't. It's going to help us pinpoint where we can shore things up a bit, where we can, it's the image I'm getting. It's like an inflatable pool, and you're all excited to use it, and you blow it up, and then you walk away from a little bit, and then come back and realize, oh, actually it had like a really small pinprick hole, and it's had a slow leak, and this one corner has been slowly deflating all day. And so, even though maybe an inflatable pool isn't the best analogy for a strong foundation, that's what's coming to my mind. So it's one of those things where you thought something was sturdy and strong, and then over time you realize, actually no, there's a slow leak here. And that could be a slow energy leak where you're giving your energy away, you're giving your power away, and maybe not realizing it at first. But once you have some time, and maybe even time away, some separation, you get to come back and realize, oh wait, I can see it now. I see where this energy leak is. I see where this foundation isn't as strong as it could be. We also have a couple of things going on with this new moon, where there is, the moon just conjunct Uranus the day before, and so on Tuesday the moon won't be exactly conjunct Uranus anymore, but it'll be kind of a wide conjunction. And so again, Taurus is generally an energy that's very stubborn. Taurus is a fixed sign. It doesn't like to change. It's, the middle of spring. It's very set in its ways. But the moon conjunct Uranus will still be kind of feeling that a little bit on Tuesday. And so there's an opportunity here. There's an opportunity to see what needs to be changed, and not just have an awareness of it, but actually do something about it and make a change. And on top of that, because Jupiter, which I will talk about later on Thursday, is going to be moving into Pisces. And so on Tuesday, Jupiter is going to be it's basically sitting at the last degree of Aquarius. And anytime a sign is at the last degree, anytime a planet is at the last degree of a sign, especially when it's an outer planet that doesn't change signs very often, we generally feel that quite deeply. And so the fact that Jupiter is sitting at the last degree of Aquarius on Tuesday with this new moon, where we're maybe something's being brought to light about something that we need to change that we weren't aware of, and we have this Uranus influence that's kind of really helping us be excited about that change. I think Jupiter's also going to play a part here, where it's kind of going to be this attitude of, you know, now's the time to make the change. Now's the time to do something. It's that flash of insight that you get that you have to act on right now. I think that's going to be energy for a lot of us on Tuesday, where we're presented with something comes to light, something is illustrated for us, and we get kind of the spark of inspiration that we want to make a change, and we have the drive, we have the energy to make that change, like without a lot of debating, without a lot of kind of going back and forth, without a lot of ruminating. It's just, nope, we're going to make that change. And a few other aspects that are happening. Mars is actually going to square Chiron on Tuesday. So Mars is our action and drive and willpower and aggression, and Chiron, like I've already mentioned, is the wounded healer. And so this can be a really frustrating aspect where we maybe want to take action around healing or fixing something, but we can't. We feel blocked, or we feel like we have to do it all ourselves. That can be another way this presents itself, where we feel like it's a frustrating aspect where there's a situation that occurs where we want someone else to come in and step in and help for whatever reason, but we end up feeling like, whether it's true or not, we feel like it's that, I have to do this myself kind of energy, which can be frustrating. And then we also have Mars will sextile Uranus, which again is where we get that spark of inspiration, where we want to act quickly. Mars is, you know, our drive and action and willpower. Uranus is change. They're coming together. The willingness to act and make a change happens really quickly, where we're ready to kind of do something new, to innovate, to experiment, to just make, again, I'm going to keep saying it because it's what I'm reading. It's ready to make a change. So all of that is Tuesday. We get a slight break on Wednesday, where there's only one major aspect. And that's Mercury will trine Saturn. And so Mercury trine Saturn is actually really helpful for mental focus, to attention to detail. So if you have like a project that you kind of really need to get into the weeds on, to really kind of, you know, maybe it's really detailed and you really need to like get in there and like pull all the details together, that can be really good. It's also really good for looking at like your long-term vision and dreams, and kind of sitting down and making a plan for that. So that's actually a really helpful aspect for that. There's also a void moon on Wednesday, because basically whenever the moon changes signs, there's going to be a void moon in there between the moon changing signs. And so the moon will be void from 8:23 a.m. to 8:43 a.m. So I'm probably just going to say this every week, but basically a void moon is just, generally speaking, it's not a good time to start anything new, but it is really great for brainstorming, for reflecting, for taking a break, for doing some self-care, for wrapping things up. And the reason behind that is basically When the moon is void, it's not making any active aspects to any planets, so kind of it's not reflecting any energies. And so because it's not, reflecting any energies, that's what the moon does, it reflects. There's basically no energy to work with. And so if you try to begin anything new, there's not a lot of energy there behind it to help it kind of carry it forward. Thursday is a pretty big day. First up, we have the sun will sextile Neptune. And sun sextile Neptune just really helps boost our intuition and creativity. It's really just a lovely, dreamy transit where you can kind of spend your day kind of daydreaming and getting some inspiration that way. And then we also have Jupiter entering Pisces on Thursday, which is a pretty big transit. So Jupiter's only going to be in Pisces for 11 weeks. Normally it would be about a year and a half, but there is a Jupiter retrograde happening later in the summer. That's actually going to send Jupiter back into Aquarius for a little bit, and then Jupiter will re-enter Pisces at the end of the year. But for the next 11 weeks, Jupiter will be in Pisces, which is excellent. If you do any kind of creative work, you will probably find your relationship to your creative muse is just a little easier to access while Jupiter is in Pisces, because Jupiter expands. Jupiter is just all about growth and expansion and optimism and joy and luck. And Pisces is all about creativity and dreams and all of like the nourishing rest. And so them together with Jupiter expanding all of the creative Pisces energy for the next 11 weeks, a lot of us who do any kind of creative work will really hopefully find it easier to tap into. On Friday, there are no major transits. We do have there is a moon transit that I'm just going to mention, and that is the moon will square Neptune. And that's actually happening fairly early in the morning, which is why I'm mentioning it. It's 6:51 a.m. The East Coast, 3:51 on the West Coast. Moon square Neptune, you might find you have some really interesting dreams. You might find your sleep is disturbed by your dreams, that you kind of wake up, maybe even startled from dreams early Friday morning. We also have a void moon on Friday. And it's all day. So it's 6:51 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. on Friday. And so Friday is definitely kind of a wrap up energy work day. Like if you wanted to take Friday off, that'd actually be kind of perfect. But otherwise, just focus on tasks you've already started, wrapping things up, nothing new if you can avoid it and help it. But it's a really great day for kind of, if you want to finish your week or can finish your week kind of wrapping things up or reviewing, that would be actually really good use of that energy. There are no major transits on Saturday, and there are no major transits on Sunday. All pretty much Saturday and Sunday are relatively quiet. Most of the energy is happening the front half of the week, which is really nice. It gives us the weekend to kind of breathe and slow down and kind of assimilate or integrate. That's the word I was looking for. Integrate whatever kind of was revealed to us around the new moon. And that is the week ahead. And if you're curious, I already have a blog post up about the new moon on Tuesday that goes into more detail of the energies we will be experiencing and how to work with them. And then, of course, I will have some social media posts and horoscopes coming out closer to Tuesday about the new moon. But other than that, I hope you have a lovely week, and I will talk to you next week.